Hello, I'm Allison Batty Capps of Blossoming Heart Wellness. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, a yoga coach, a Reiki master, and a spiritual mentor. And today we're going to explore the concept of the inner compass, remembering who we are within the human experience. Today I'd like to explore a question that has been living in my heart for many years. What if spiritual growth is not about escaping the human experience? What if healing is not about becoming someone different? What if awakening is not about transcending our humanity? And what if it is about remembering who we are within our humanity? Because one of the things that I have noticed throughout my years of studying spirituality, psychology, neuroscience, trauma healing, and contemplative practices is that many people are searching for a way out of suffering. And honestly, I can understand why. Life can be extremely painful. We experience grief, loss, trauma, disappointment, stress, uncertainty, conflict, illness, heartbreak. There are moments when it feels completely understandable to want to rise above it all. But the more I have reflected on my own journey, the more I have found myself arriving at a different understanding. Not that suffering disappears, not that life becomes easy, but that there is something within us that helps us navigate life without becoming completely lost inside of it. In my work and in my writing, I call this the inner compass. And I want to be clear about what I mean by that. The inner compass is not a technique. It is not a coping skill. It is not a mindset. It is not something that we have to create. It is not something that we have to cultivate. The inner compass is our deepest essence. It is our direct connection to what many people call God, source, divine, presence, universal consciousness, or love itself, or whatever framework you are comfortable using. It is the deepest truth of who we are within our human experience. And the human journey is not about creating it. It is about remembering it. One of the things that I have struggled with in some spiritual teaching is the implication that the goal is to transcend being human, to rise above our emotions, to rise above suffering, to rise above the body, to rise above the challenges of life. When I hear these teachings, I hear people trying to escape the human experience. And I also experience myself and many other human beings that are having difficulty rising above, feeling ashamed because they are continuing to experience very real human emotions, such as grief and fear and anger and exhaustion and uncertainty. And sometimes they can begin asking questions such as, what am I doing wrong? Why am I still struggling? Why can't I stay peaceful? Why am I not more evolved? And I want to offer a different perspective. What if the goal is not to escape humanity? What if the goal is to develop a compassionate relationship within humanity? What if spiritual growth is not about becoming less human? What if it is about becoming more fully present within the reality of being human? Because being human includes feeling. Being human includes vulnerability. Being human includes both joy and sorrow. Being human includes both love and loss. Nothing about these experiences means that you are failing. It means that you are alive. And why would we want to be human beings if the point of the whole experience of being on Earth was to somehow escape the experience of being on Earth? What does psychology teach us? Well, from a psychological perspective, healing is not about eliminating emotional experiences. It is about changing our relationship with emotional experiences. We do not heal because sadness disappears. We heal because we learn how to be present with our sadness. And we don't heal because fear disappears. We heal because fear no longer completely controls our lives and leads to reactivity. We do not heal because our protective parts vanish. We heal because we understand them. We learn to listen to them. We become curious about what they need and what they're trying to protect us from. What we discover is that our reactions often contain important information about our needs, our wounds, our boundaries, and our experiences. Psychology teaches us that awareness creates choice. And the more awareness we cultivate, the more capacity we have to respond to life rather than automatically reacting. But awareness alone is not enough. We also need compassion, because healing does not happen through judgment. Healing happens through acceptance, understanding, and deep compassion. What does neuroscience teach us? Well, neuroscience offers another important perspective. The nervous system is designed to respond to life. It is not designed to remain regulated all the time. It moves naturally between activation and recovery, protection and connection, stress and regulation. This is not dysfunction. It is intelligent design. Many people assume that healing means never becoming activated again. But healthy nervous systems still experience stress. Healthy nervous systems still become overwhelmed. Healthy nervous systems still respond to life's challenges. The difference is not the absence of activation. The difference is the capacity to recover, the capacity to reconnect, the capacity to return. And this is where mindfulness becomes so important. Mindfulness does not create the inner compass. Mindfulness helps us remember it. When we slow down, when we become present, when we observe our thoughts, our emotions, our sensations, and our experiences without judgment, we begin creating enough space to hear and feel the deeper wisdom that has always been there. The inner compass has never left us. But sometimes the noise of stress, trauma, fear, shame, and conditioning becomes so loud that we lose contact with it. We lose contact with our true essence. Mindfulness can help us remember. What does spirituality teach us about this? Well, from a spiritual perspective, I believe something profound. I do not believe that we are separate from the divine. I believe that the divine lives within each of us, not as an idea, not as a metaphor, but as a living presence. The inner compass is that direct connection. It is the place within us that remains connected to love, to spaciousness, to creativity, to possibility, to wisdom, to compassion, to truth, even when life becomes difficult. And this is why I do not believe healing is fundamentally about self-improvement. I believe healing is fundamentally about self-remembrance, not becoming worthy, remembering that we already are. Not becoming whole, remembering that wholeness exists beneath the wounds. Not creating our connection to source, remembering that connection has always been there. So this is something important that I think human beings need to understand. The inner compass and the divine does not eliminate suffering. And this is one of the most important lessons that I have had to learn about life. It helps us navigate suffering. It doesn't eliminate it. It does not remove grief. It helps us move through grief. It does not remove fear. It helps us respond to fear. It does not remove uncertainty. It helps us remain grounded within uncertainty. Life will continue to fluctuate. People will disappoint us. Plans will change. Loss will happen. Unexpected challenges will arise. The goal is not to eliminate every fluctuation. The goal is to learn how to move through those fluctuations without losing yourself. Recently, I found myself reflecting on a phrase that felt deeply meaningful. The phrase was, "I always come home." Not because life is easy, not because I never struggle, not because I never become overwhelmed, but because over time I have learned to trust that no matter what happens, no matter how lost I feel, there is something within me that always remembers the way. The inner compass is always there, not demanding perfection, not judging, simply guiding, waiting, inviting me back to that connection with myself, back to compassion, back to awareness, back into love. Perhaps this is what awakening actually looks like. Not permanently transcending life, not permanently escaping suffering, but repeatedly remembering who we are inside of it, again and again and again, coming home. I'd like to invite you into a brief reflection. I invite you to take a slow breath and ask yourself, what helps me remember who I am when life becomes difficult? What helps me reconnect with the deepest truth of myself beneath the fear, the stress, the grief, and the uncertainty? Can I trust that even when I feel lost, the inner compass remains present? Can I trust that I do not need to create it? Can I trust that I only need to remember it? Allow yourself to sit with these questions. No pressure, no striving, only curiosity. The inner compass is not a tool for escaping your humanity. It is the guiding force that helps you return to yourself within the human experience. It does not eliminate suffering. It helps us navigate suffering. It does not remove life's fluctuations. It helps us move through them without losing ourselves. It is not a path from humanity. It is a path deeper into compassionate relationship with humanity. And perhaps most importantly, the inner compass is not something we create. It is something we remember. It is your deepest essence. It is your connection to the divine, whatever that means to you. It is your connection to love. It is your connection to the truth of who you are. Thank you for being here. And if this conversation resonated, I'd love to hear your reflections in the comments. And if you'd like to explore these concepts more deeply, I invite you to visit my website, blossomingheartwellness.com, to explore my courses or how to work with me, or read my book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World. Until next time, I'm sending you deep love and appreciation for wherever you are on your journey of healing, remembering, and coming home to yourself.